Hey photographers, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Michelle and I make videos all about creating a photography business that you love. In today's video, we're talking about how I kept track of my finances for years without hiring anybody, without paying for any expensive software, and I'm going to teach you to do the same. But before we get in that video, I just want to announce that I currently have 2 open spots for mentorships. For mentoring right now. So if you would like to work with me and really see a difference in your business and just get that one-on-one help, there is a link down in the description box below of a questionnaire I would like you to fill out first, just to make sure I know where you're starting from, where you want to go, and see if I would be a good fit for you. And I'll get back to you as soon as I receive that questionnaire. So enjoy this video and let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, I love batch working. If you're not familiar with batch working, it's just doing one task as a designated time or block or day. So that way you can really, like, a lot of content creators do batch work too, where they record a ton of videos in one day. That way they're focused on what they're doing. They're able to crank a lot out of that one particular task, and then that they're good to go for the future instead of having to do it like once every week. So basically batch working is that kind of idea. And my finances are no different. So I like to batch work with my finances, meaning I have a designated day every single week that I review my finances. And for me, that is Fridays. That's just what works best for me. And it's kind of like financial Fridays. So that kind of is always like a cute way to think about it and keep me on track. So I have a little workflow that I do every Friday just to make sure everything is in order. So the first thing I do is I go through all my expenses for that week. So how I do this on day-to-day work, as soon as I get an email receipt, anything that I've purchased, I put it in my folder. So I use Gmail, and if I get a Gmail receipt, I have a folder in my Gmail designated to my photography business for that year. I go by year and I go by month. So I have like 2021, and then I have January, February, March, and then I put that, as soon as I receive that email, I just forward it to the correct folder, and I don't touch it until I reach Friday. So that way I just have one place to check for all my receipts, which is really nice. If I have a physical receipt, let's say I go to the store to buy client gifts or something like that, I will use the app called Scannable. I'll put the little icon on the screen. I love that app. So all I do is I basically take a picture of the receipt I have, and it creates a high resolution PDF that I can later print. And so I will print off the receipt. I staple the original paper receipt to my photocopy just to make sure that, you know, the ink never fades and that I always have record of it. And then I'll file it away that way if I have a physical copy. And also then I can upload it to my Gmail folder if I want to. So daily I keep track of my receipts, and then weekly I go into that designated folder for the photography and I look back on just that previous week, since I work week to week, and I record all my expenses. And I just use an Excel spreadsheet. I use Google Excel spreadsheet. It works great. Maybe I'll hop on the screen here and show you just a quick example of what that looks like and how I set that up. A little bit more of how I actually set this up. So I just made a new Google Excel sheet in the Google Drive folder, and then I just name it, usually the year and then my business name. And then I start with expenses. So down here I name this sheet expenses, and I make a column for the date, for the product that I bought, the cost of the product, and the category of where I would file this. So for example, here's the date. Let's say it was for my website hosting fee. So I write that out, I put how much it was, and then advertising for the category. And every Friday I just record all my expenses, and then at the end of the month I like to add it all up. So if you don't know how to do that, I'll just show you for example here. So let's say you had a couple more purchases for your business. We're just gonna make them up, and then you go to where you want the total to be, and then you come up to this little sign that says functions, and then you put sum, and then you're just going to highlight all the areas you want it to add. So I want it to add this column from here to here. So I just click the first one, I hit shift, and then I click the last one, and then I'm going to click enter, and then it's going to add it up for you. So that way you're not having to do a whole bunch of math, which is really nice. So after I record my expenses for the week, I then record my mileage. So the main important thing, if you don't use an app for this, I know there's Mile IQ, I've heard good things about that. I honestly just love pen and paper and I trust it more than an app. So I record first my miles at the beginning of the year and miles at the end of the year, so my odometer on my car. And then every time I go somewhere, I record the date and the exact location, so my starting address to the location, how many miles that is, and the purpose for that visit, so I know that it was a business purpose to record it for my mileage for my taxes at the end of the year. And then I created a next sheet. If you don't know how to do that, you just do a plus sign here for adding a sheet, and I'll add a sheet there for you. But let's go back. So then I do my mileage. So kind of the same thing every year. I put where my odometer is starting. So this is just an example here. And then again, a column for the date of when I drove, the address of where I drove to, and then the total mileage, and then the reason for that drive, just so I can prove as much as I can and remember that it was for business. Same thing, I add up the total for the month, and that's what I have there. After my mileage, I then move on to sales. So any sales I had that week, I record, you know, obviously the client's name, how much it was, and the date. And then the last sheet I have here is a sales sheet. So again, same thing. I have the date of payment, who paid me, what it was, and then the amount. And then I like to put the type of payment because I do have a couple different places that I take payment. So if it was a HoneyBook payment or a Square payment, that way it's just easier for me to recall later if I need to. And same thing at the end of the month, I like to add up this total column to know how much I made. And then after I have all that recorded, I check my bank accounts. This is so important. I don't think enough people do that. I just check it weekly so I don't go crazy, but I make sure that everything that's been taken out of there is legit, and any subscriptions, all those things are right and correct, and that my income is also coming in when it's supposed to too, that their money's coming in and it's gone through okay. So I just like to make sure everything is correct there. If that's correct, then I move on to moving my money. So every week I move money for taxes, and every 2 weeks I pay myself. That's just my routine. You can pay yourself every week, you know, once a month, however workflow works best for you. But every week for sure I move money for taxes if I had any sales that week. So for my state sales tax and also my estimated income tax. So I set that aside into my savings account for my checking account. And then for payday, which is fun, so every couple weeks then I give myself my pay. The main thing with all of this, whether you want to use QuickBooks or a client management software like HoneyBook or just the regular Google Excel spreadsheet, you just want to be consistent. That is the most important thing. Find a system that you can continually do every week, and that way at the end of the year you're not scrambling trying to remember things or find things, and it can get really messy really fast. So just set aside a block of time every week and go through all this that we just suggested, that I just suggested there, and you'll be golden with your finances, and you won't miss anything. If things aren't going through, you're able to catch it quickly, and it'll all make sense to you because you'll have plenty of notes and you'll have a fresh mind about it, and then it will be a lot smoother, hopefully. So I hope that video was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If not, just tell me how you prefer to track your finances. Do you hire that out? Do you use a system to do that for you, or good old-fashioned pen and paper works well for you too? I always am curious on how photographers like to organize the back end and the finances of everything. So let me know in the comments below. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with another photographer that could use this video. These YouTube videos are a lot of work, so I just want to be sure I'm only taking the time to do that if it's actually being helpful and helping other photographers. So let me know if it is or not, so then I can spend my time maybe doing something else. No, I really appreciate you guys, and until the next one, I'll see you in the next one.